Hello, friends. Welcome to Page 2 Book. Today we are going to talk about the book Get to the Point by Joel Schwartzberg. Hrithik was very upset in the office that day. He had a new job, and along with new responsibilities, he had to give a presentation to his team soon. This was the first time he had got a big job, so he wanted to do it with full dedication. But the problem was that he had a lot to say, but he did not understand how to present it in a better way. He had many ideas, many topics, but they were not going in any clear direction. Every time he sat down to prepare his notes, his words started falling apart after some time. He felt the lack of logic and weight in his own words. His team lead gave him just one advice: get to the point. Others will understand your point only when you yourself understand it completely. Hrithik understood the point, but he did not know how to put his idea in a concise manner. He thought of spending some time in the office library. Maybe he would read a book, an article or something. Anything could solve his confusion. He wandered into the library, and while flipping through the books, he came across a book called Get to the Point: Sharpen Your Message and Make Your Words Matter, written by Joel Schwartzberg. Sharpen Your Message was written in big letters on its cover, and Hrithik thought that perhaps this was the thing he needed. He picked up the book and sat in a corner of the library and started reading the first page. In the very first chapter, he began to understand the real purpose of the book. The first lesson of the book was understand the essence of a point. In this lesson, Schwartzberg had explained the difference between a point and a topic. Often people make the mistake of considering a topic as a point and are unable to express their thoughts clearly. Actually, a point should be such in which you say something that is logical and has a value. Hrithik read that a true point is a value proposition, something that is logical, that you can portray and that you can prove. This did not mean that whatever idea you have should be simply stated, rather it should be made such that it is a point in itself. It should be complete and have deep meaning. Hrithik thought that this is the mistake I am making. I thought that I have many topics, and maybe they will be enough, but now I understand the difference between topics and points. A topic is just an idea, whereas a point is an idea which you can prove. He started remembering how many times he kept on adding random things in his presentation, but he was not able to focus on any one thing. Schwartzberg also explained that a true point is a solution to a problem in itself, which you can illustrate and prove. This is very important because if you say something which has no weight, then people will not give importance to it. After reading this lesson of the book, Hrithik started understanding his mistake. He realized that his words were like empty shells, which had no life, no real message. His presentation was also becoming just like some random thoughts which lacked coherence. He now started understanding that he should not focus on the presentation must be centered around a clear point so that the listeners can connect with his point. He decided that now he will center his presentation on a strong point so that his message is effective and clear. After reading the book, he returned to his desk and looked at his old notes again. He had a lot of information and many arguments, but now he tried to convert each of his arguments into a clear point. He used the insights he learned from the book to formulate his point: music. He found a central idea for his presentation, his core point. This point was a simple statement, but it had depth and substance. He felt that this was a real point and he had to convey it to others. Earlier there was turmoil in his thoughts, but now there was clarity. He started binding his points in a logical and coherent way. For the next few days, Hrithik read the book more deeply and tried to use Schwartzberg's insights in his presentation. He now realized that the real art is not just in words. Rather, it is in finding that one point and then achieving it. On the day of the presentation, Hrithik was confident because now he had a strong point which was meaningful and valuable for every listener. He started his presentation, and in the very first sentence he presented his core point. Now he did not wander in random things. Rather, every sentence moved towards proving his main point. Hrithik realized that Schwartzberg's lesson was not limited to just presentations. It is useful in every aspect of life. Many times we are confused about our thoughts because we do not know what we actually have to say. We just have an idea of the topic, but there is no solid point. He said to himself that perhaps in future in life, whenever I have to say something, I will first think about what is the real point of my talk. Only then will I be able to say it properly. In this way, Hrithik's life started changing. If you like our free summary, then you can subscribe to our channel and buy our membership, or you can support us through UPI. Now coming back to the summary, that one book not only taught him presentation skills, but also gave him a new perspective. Hrithik's presentation was successful. His team members and boss praised him, and Hrithik understood that if your talk has a quality and a strong point, then communicating it becomes that much easier. But his journey did not end here. Hrithik's curiosity increased further. He decided to read further lessons in Schwartzberg's book so that he could become better in this skill. Hrithik started reading the second lesson of the book titled Identify and Strengthen Your Point. In this, Schwartzberg had written that a good cutter is the one who identifies his main point before crafting it. It is not enough to just know what to say, but it is also important that your message is powerful and effective. This lesson touched Hrithik deeply. Now he started realizing that his first lesson of understanding the difference between point and topic was just the beginning. Now he had to make his point stronger. Hrithik stopped while reading the book and started thinking that whatever he will say now should have some strength. According to Schwartzberg, a strong point is that which people can not only understand easily, but also remember. This thing motivated Hrithik further. He felt that maybe last time he made a point, but it did not have the strength that he wanted. He also understood that sometimes our thoughts are deep, but we are not able to express them properly. This time, Hrithik set another new challenge for himself. He will make his next presentation, but this time his point will be even stronger and impactful. Schwartzberg had told in the book that to make a strong point, first of all, it is necessary to focus on the clarity of your point. Hrithik also remembered other incidents of his life when he had failed to express his point. He remembered how he had failed to express his point properly. Many times he had given his arguments to two friends, but they were not as convincing as he wanted. Schwartzberg had also said that a message should be crafted only after identifying its main point so that it has focus and clarity. Hrithik further read in the book that once you identify your main point, you have to work on it to make it stronger. Schwartzberg had suggested that to do this work, you can ask yourself some questions, like is this point relevant for the listener? Can I prove it in a logical way? Is there something in it that people can easily remember? These questions gave more direction to Hrithik's thinking. Hrithik decided in his mind that now he will strengthen his point further by asking these questions to himself. He started writing some points in his personal diary and thought about whether there is really something in them that can influence others. He felt that when you analyze your point in this way, your thinking becomes even more clear. Now, before speaking on any topic, he used to try to strengthen his main point. After a few days, Hrithik got another opportunity to present some important points in front of his boss. He had to give his views on a new strategy, and he was excited about it. This time, keeping in mind the lessons of Schwartzberg, he first identified his main point well. Music. Identification will not be just a presentation, but a strong and impactful message. When the day of presentation came, Hrithik had already prepared his points. He had already determined what his core message would be and how to present it in the best way. This time, his words did not contain only information, but also a strong message which was relevant and easy to understand for the team. As soon as he was finishing his talk, he saw satisfaction on the faces of some of the team members. Everyone was understanding his point and also agreeing with him. It seemed that this time his words were not just being heard, but were also being understood. Hrithik felt that now he was not just talking for the sake of talking. Rather, he understood how to make his point meaningful and impactful. He had learned a lot from Schwartzberg's second lesson. Now he realized that to make any message impactful, he himself has to make his point even better. this book was no longer just an ordinary book in Hrithik's life. Now he started using this art in every conversation, every presentation, and even in his personal conversations with friends and family. He understood that these words of Schwartzberg are useful not only in professional life, but also in personal life. Hrithik had reached the next lesson of Schwartzberg's book. Till now, he had learned how to identify a strong point and make it effective. But this time, the lesson was a little more challenging. The name of the lesson was Stick to Your Point, and it was reminding him that once you understand your main point, it is important that you stay focused on it. Schwartzberg had told that many, often people while speaking their point, inadvertently stray into topics that have no connection with the main point. This not only weakens your point, but also distracts the listeners from the main point. Hrithik realized that this lesson can also prove to be very useful for him. Last time, while identifying his point music, he used to suddenly stray to some other related topic. Due to this, the attention of his listeners used to get diverted, and his main point got weakened. In this lesson of Schwartzberg, a clear advice was given that after finding and strengthening your point, it is important that we stick to it. Hrithik did not take time to think how important this was for him. He knew that no matter how much information he had, if he started straying, its effect would be weakened. He realized that only if he gave a clear and focused message, his point would be fully understood and remembered by the audience. Hrithik remembered some examples when he was discussing a topic with his friends and suddenly started going to some other topic. In such a situation, his friends had trouble understanding his main point. This lesson from Schwartzberg was telling him how important it is to keep your conversation focused. He decided in his mind that now, whenever he says something, he will focus only on the point that he wants to convey. A few days later, there was an important meeting in Hrithik's office, where he had to give his suggestions about a new project. This was another opportunity for him to apply the teachings of Schwartzberg. He started preparing for his presentation and focused on what his main point was. He knew that he had to discuss the feasibility of this project, but at the same time, many other subtopics were also running in his mind. But this time, he was determined not to get distracted by all those extra things. On the day of the presentation, he took a deep breath and stood in front of everyone. First of all, he clarified his main point and slowly started presenting it to everyone. Whenever his mind started going towards any other topic, he reminded himself that he has to stick to his main point. He said only those things which were relevant to his point. Hrithik saw that this time his presentation was more impactful than before. His boss and team listened to him completely and understood his point. No one asked him unrelated questions because he had presented his point with great clarity. He realized that this lesson of stick to your point was really useful. This one principle improved his communication skills many times over. After the meeting, Hrithik's confidence increased even more. He promised himself that now, in every conversation, he will make sure that he stays centered on his main point. Now he started trying to apply this lesson of Schwartzberg in every aspect of his life. Whenever he had to get into a deep conversation with his friends, he would first decide in his mind what he wanted to say and would just stick to it. Hrithik's communication skills were gradually improving even more. Now people not only listened to him carefully, but also listened to him. He found that when he gave a clear and focused message, people connected with him, and he was able to communicate his ideas well. This third lesson from Schwartzberg also proved to be a game changer for Hrithik. He learned that to maintain clarity and relevance in communication, it is important that we identify our main point. He had by now learned how to make a strong point and stick to it while keeping it relevant. All this started to mold him into a good communicator. Now he was able to say his point in a confident and focused manner. But the next lesson of the book was Sell Your Point Effectively, which was perhaps the most challenging of all his learnings. Schwartzberg said that it is not enough to just say a point, but it is important to convey it to your audience in such a way that they not only understand it, but also connect with it emotionally and intellectually. This was a new thing for Hrithik. He had understood by now that clarity and focus are important, but to give an impactful message, it is important that you present your point in such a way that the listeners feel that this point is relevant and meaningful for them too. Schwartzberg had suggested that selling your point means presenting it in such a way that people feel connected to it. For this, storytelling, evidence, and perspective can be used so that people can connect with it on both emotional and logical levels. Hrithik understood that now he will have to present his point in the form of a solid argument and communicate it in such a way that people feel that this is not just an idea, but a valuable proposition. Hrithik thought a lot about this, and he remembered that he had seen his boss explaining his point in an impressive manner many times. The boss used to explain his point not in a simple way, but many times with the help of stories. Hrithik thought that perhaps this was the essence of Schwartzberg's lesson, that we should present our point not only in a logical manner, but also in such a way that it can touch people's emotions. Hrithik soon got another opportunity to apply his learning. A meeting was to be held in the office regarding a new policy, and Hrithik had to give suggestions in the interest of his team. This time, he decided that he would not only resort to facts and figures, but would use a short story to make his point more engaging and impactful. On the day of the meeting, he started his talk like this: I want to tell you guys a small story. Suppose there is a team which is very hardworking, but they do not have clarity about what their goals are. They work very hard, but the effect of their hard work is less visible because their direction is not clear. Now, if this team is given a clear vision and purpose, then you can yourself guess how productive they can be. Then he connected his point to how this new policy can give a clear direction to his team. He did not present his point as a cold fact, but explained it through a relatable story. He saw that his approach had a deep impact. His team members not only agreed with him, but also appreciated him for communicating his point. Hrithik realized that when you say your point in a relatable way, people connect with it more. Hrithik learned one more thing from this lesson, and that was the power of evidence. Schwartzberg explained that to strengthen your point, you should resort to logic and authenticity, and not just emotions. If you have such arguments or evidence that support your point, then it becomes easier to convince the audience. The next time Hrithik presented his point, he also used some solid data and research. He saw that in this way his point gained more weight. Now people did not just believe him by hearsay. Not only were they believing him, but they were also trusting his words. He now realized how important it is to put your point with evidence, because it not only increases the impact of your point, but also makes you a credible and responsible communicator. After a few weeks, Hrithik's team had to implement a new strategy, and this time, Hrithik had to tell his team how important Sangeet is for their work. This time, Hrithik told a small story on storytelling evidence and pervasiveness, Sangeet, that how a small mistake or change can save us from big problems. Then he shared some data with research that how this new strategy will improve their productivity. At the end, he added a personal note. I know that we all work very hard, and this strategy can make our hard work even more effective. This thing of Hrithik had an impact. Everyone in the team was understanding his point, and everyone seemed ready for this change. This time, Hrithik saw that his team members not only agreed with his approach, but also prepared themselves to implement this strategy, was a great validation for him that he had learned and applied this lesson of Schwartzberg correctly. Now, for Hrithik, every communication was not just a means of giving information, but he was presenting his thoughts and ideas in a compelling way. He now understood that not only saying but selling your point is also an art. He realized that when you present your point in a persuasive way, people not only listen to you, but also believe in it and are inspired to implement it. This lesson of Schwartzberg proved to be a turning point for Hrithik. He learned that to make his point impactful and memorable, it should be presented in such a way that people can connect with it and value it. Hrithik reached the next and final lesson of Schwartzberg's book. He saw that now his communication skills had reached a different level of maturity. Till now, he had learned how to identify a strong point, strengthen it, stick to it, and sell it effectively. Even after learning all this, he felt that there was something that would make him stronger. The last lesson of Schwartzberg was that practice makes perfect. This lesson taught him that the best way to improve any skill is constant practice. Schwartzberg believed that communication is like any other skill in which regular practice is required to gain expertise. He wrote that by rehearsing speeches or presentations, you become more comfortable with your material, which improves your delivery, and your message reaches more effectively. It is also important that after every practice, you analyze yourself and see in which areas you need improvement. This lesson was quite eye-opening for Hrithik. He thought how many times he had practiced without practicing. He gave presentations for preparation, and they did not have the effect he wanted. He knew that practicing would not only increase his confidence, but he would also be able to put his point across more effectively. He decided that he would practice every aspect of his next presentation and also take feedback to improve himself. After a few days, he got a chance to give a big presentation. This time he decided to leave his old habit and prepare well. He started rehearsing the presentation and practiced every point so that the delivery is smooth and impactful. Every time during rehearsal, he would pay attention to his words, gestures, and tone. If any point seemed unclear, he would try to improve it. Hrithik also understood that only practicing is not enough. It is also important to take feedback. He called one of his close friends and started narrating the presentation to him. The friend gave some constructive feedback and told him where he could improve more. Hrithik incorporated those feedback points and improved his presentation, made him more polished. This time rehearsal gave him the confidence that he would be able to stand confidently in front of his audience. The next day, when he gave a presentation in front of his colleague and boss, his confidence was more than ever. He presented his point in a clear, concise, and sure way. His delivery seemed so natural, as if he was saying everything spontaneously, but the effect of practice was behind it. As soon as his presentation was over, the whole team applauded him with thunderous applause. Hrithik realized at that time that practice had not only improved his communication skills, but also helped him make his message more powerful. Hrithik now decided that whether it is a small conversation or a big presentation, he will always rehearse. He saw that during practice, he realized his weaknesses, and the feedback gave him an opportunity to improve in the right direction. This lesson of Schwartzberg proved to be very valuable for him, because now he knew that there are many ways to become a great communicator. The best way is to work continuously on your skills. After this, Hrithik started applying this technique in his personal life as well. He realized that sometimes personal conversations also require practice and preparation, especially when he had to share some important things with his family. He started thinking and practicing his thoughts carefully so that he could bring clarity and impact in his relationships as well. Hrithik considered his success to be the result of these 5 lessons of Schwartzberg, but the most important lesson that taught him the ultimate way to polish every skill was the practice Max Pierce fact. It not only enhanced his communication skills, but also taught him that any skill improves with time and hard work. Hrithik learned a lot from all the lessons of Schwartzberg's book. He felt his communication skills reaching a new height. Now he could not only identify his points effectively, but also taught him that regular practice is necessary to refine any skill. The book, after completing his course, Hrithik started implementing these lessons in every aspect of his life. Giving presentations in office was no less than a challenge for him. Rather, he considered every presentation as an opportunity and tried to improve himself. He started presenting his points in front of his colleagues in a clear and convincing manner. Where earlier he used to feel nervous in speaking his point, now he felt full of confidence. He was convinced that he now has the toolkit with which he can handle any communication challenge. This transformation of Hrithik was not limited to his professional life only. He found that at home also he started expressing his thoughts in a better way. Now he was able to have more meaningful conversations with his family. Earlier, where misunderstandings used to happen on small things, now, due to his clarity and focus, Everyone listened to him carefully and understood him. He felt that effective communication has also brought a new glow to his relationships. This transformation of his was not limited to his professional life only. His family also noticed the transformation. His parents and wife saw that Hrithik had now become a thoughtful listener and a clear communicator. Apart from this, Hrithik also started working on himself. He learned to analyze himself and tried to make himself a better communicator every day. After every presentation and interaction, he would ask himself what he did well and where there was scope for improvement. This approach helped him to grow continuously. He started learning from his mistakes and started refining his communication style. After a few months, a big event came in Hrithik's office. He got a chance to represent the company in a prestigious conference. This conference was in front of many big people of the industry, and it was very important to present the company's image and reputation here. For the earlier Hrithik, this would have been a huge pressure, but now he was confident. He practiced his presentation for the conference again and again and refined it based on the feedback. He also improved his ways of storytelling. He started with determination and presented the evidence carefully and kept his main point in the audience's attention. When his speech ended, the audience applauded him with thunderous applause. His boss called him aside and said, "Hrithik, we all are proud of your presentation. There is clarity, depth, and sincerity in your communication, which is very rare." This was a proud moment for Hrithik. With the help of Schwartzberg's book, he had reached this position. He realized that he had taken his communication skills to a level where he could present his point confidently and effectively in front of any kind of audience. After this success, Hrithik got a promotion in the company. Now, he was leading his team and himself had come into the role of a mentor. He started telling his team about Schwartzberg's lessons so that they too could learn this important skill of effective communication. Gradually, he started teaching his team the same things that he had learned from the book. He made rapid progress in effectively identifying the points. Now all the members of his team could communicate their point confidently and effectively. They did not interfere in saying their point and were able to put their point across in an effective manner. This journey of Hrithik proved to be transformative not only for him, but also for his team. They started considering him as their inspiration and started taking feedback from him. Eventually, Hrithik understood that communication is a skill that can be refined for a lifetime. He realized that every lesson of Schwartzberg's book was invaluable in his life. The book was over, but Hrithik's journey was yet to come. He decided that he would always try to make himself a better communicator. And with this approach, he decided to move further in his career. Hrithik had learned that communication is not a one-time skill. This is an ongoing journey which can be learned and left. He realized that there is no limit to refining communication, and this thinking was making him a better person and a better communicator every day. And in this way, Hrithik's journey with Schwartzberg's book was like a beautiful transformation in which he continuously improved his communication skills. This journey taught him that to become an effective communicator, clarity, focus, impact, and practice are required, and he adopted all this in his life. Even after finishing the book, these learnings changed his life and made him a successful professional and a balanced person. So friends, this was our book summary today. How did you like it? Do let us know by commenting, and thank you for listening to the summary till the end.